I've been looking forward to bringing you this interview all afternoon. After 12 years of service at the Constitutional Court, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga hanged up his robes and retired this week at the age of 63. This marks the end of a judicial career that has spanned a cumulative 17 years on the bench. In a special sitting held in his honor at the Constitutional Court, Chief Justice Mandisa Maya commended Justice Madlanga for his remarkable intellect, humility and unwavering dedication to justice. Madlanga's immediate task, though, will be to preside over the Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference and corruption within the country's criminal justice system, which has been spawned, as you know, by allegations raised by KwaZulu Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Let's now talk to the man of the moment, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga. But before we do that, let's listen to some of the words that were said by his colleagues at the final sitting of the Constitutional Court.
Justice Madlanga's career is not just a chronicle of personal achievement, it's a tale of how one individual's dedication to justice can shape the destiny of a nation.
Justice Madlanga's work has embodied the Constitution's promise of transformative constitutionalism. The idea that law must be a tool to transform society from its unjust past to a future grounded in human rights and equality.
Just to assure Justice Madlanga that we will do what the Chief Justice has stated, that we will confront the uncomfortable, as you urged us to do, with no fear or favor. We will speak on briefing patterns, we will speak on empowerment, we will continue to fight.
Yeah, so there was a sampling then of some of the kind words that were being said by the former acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga's colleagues. He joins me now on the line. Let's pick up the conversation. Justice Madlanga, in your own words, how do you reflect on the epic journey that you have had as a judge, first in the Eastern Cape Division for 5 years and then in the Constitutional Court for some 12 years?
It has been a long journey, challenging, interesting, but quite enjoyable. And what I love about it is that in it all, I was serving South Africa, my country, my nation.
Was the bench always part of the plan for you, or did it happen by default? Was it by design or default?
It was actually quite fortuitous, not planned at all. When I was in my matric year, I did not know what I wanted to do the following year. Then around the middle or possibly even the second half of the year, my late father wrote a letter to me in which he asked, would I not want to be a judge someday? Also saying if I wanted to be, I should consider doing law. I was immediately hooked, and I did not even have to think about it. And indeed, the following year, I registered for law. But I must add this. It was quite unrealistic to think about becoming a judge then, because this was during the darkest days of apartheid, and in South Africa, judges were white people only. So despite that, I still took my father's advice and I did law. And I immediately knew that there was a lot other than just being a judge. So at that stage, I thought I'm going to be a legal practitioner. But of course, in the end, it led to judgeship. And
Justice Madlanga, so let's reflect on the institution where you served for a longer period of time, the Constitutional Court. It marked its 30th anniversary this year. What does the court symbolize for you, and how, ideally, should South Africans be relating to it as part of our democratic infrastructure?
The Constitutional Court is the apex court in South Africa. One of its mandates, if not indeed through history, its main mandate is to be the ultimate arbiter on what the Constitution provides for. And in that sense, it looks at the conduct of individuals, organs of state, and indeed even the other two arms of state, to ensure that whatever they do it in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. That is not true of the Constitutional Court only. The other levels of the judiciary do the same. But the difference with the Constitutional Court is that it is the apex court.
Yeah. So bear with me. The next question is a bit lengthy, but you'll get why I phrased it in this way. You've authored quite a number of pivotal judgments in your career on the bench during your tenure, particularly in the Constitutional Court. So there's New Nation movement, which made it possible for independent candidates to stand for election for the first time in last year's election. There was Corruption Watch, where you found that the settlement agreement between the then NDPP Nhlanhla and then President Jacob Zuma was invalid. And then there was DE versus RH, where the Constitutional Court abolished the delictual action for adultery. Just take us through the process of thinking through and forming a view and then backing it up with the law and the research, the work that is involved in writing up these seminal judgments, and the extent to which you are thinking about broader society and how society will embrace or otherwise your judgments.
What sets the path, so to speak, is the Constitution. So whenever anything comes before the court, I look at it through the lens of the Constitution. And that's what guides me in whatever I decide in the end. The research that goes into the exercise is also informed by what the Constitution, and in those instances where the Constitution does not necessarily come into the picture, my thinking is guided by the law.
And then lastly, Justice Madlanga, because of time, let me go to this question about, as you depart the Constitutional Court, there is an undercurrent, and I imagine that you would have picked it up, an undercurrent that has been increasingly expressing its distrust, disillusionment in the Constitutional Court and our judiciary and in the judgments of the Constitutional Court. And we saw, to a certain extent, that being expressed in the wake of the judgment you delivered in the MKP matter. How can that gap of trust be bridged? What is your understanding of the origins of that undercurrent and how that gap can be bridged?
I say that it's unfortunate that there should be such sentiments. One can only hope that they are not so pervasive as to influence the majority of our people. The courts, as Chief Justice Mohammed once said, and also Justice Johan Kressler in a judgment once said, the court does not have an army. It does not have a police force. Its power rests solely in the confidence that people have in it. So take away that confidence, you take away the power that courts and the Constitutional Court in particular have. And because these institutions are so important to our democracy, that will whittle away part of our democracy itself. That will be quite unfortunate.
Yeah. Just lastly, as a parting shot, Justice Madlanga, 63 is not to flatter, but 63 is quite young. Yeah, there's still quite a fair amount of energy involved there. What will you do with all that energy?
Let me say I was in the fortunate position of being appointed as an acting justice of the Apex Court of Namibia, the Supreme Court of Namibia. So I was not going to sit and twiddle my thumbs. I was going to go to Namibia after my retirement But unfortunately, the commission was thrust upon me, and that's what I'm going to do in the immediate future.
All right, that's great. Thank you for your time this afternoon, and we wish you well in your retirement. That's the former acting Deputy Chief Justice, the now retired Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga.